Meet Richard William Huckle, Britain's most depraved paedophile. He was arrested in 2014 shortly after arriving back home in the UK for the holidays, and was convicted of 71 sexual offence charges. He was sentenced to serve life behind bars, with a minimum of 25 years before the possibility for parole. Join me as we explore the life and crimes of Richard Huckle. Welcome to Simply Told. Richard was born in Kent, on the 14th of May 1986. During his school years, except for the times he would keep to himself, he was considered to be a normal kid. Later in life, Richard heads for Kuala Lumpur, working as a freelance photographer. He receives a certificate in English language teaching to adults, hoping this qualifications would help with his acceptance into their community, as he planned to move there. And to help increase his chances even further, he enrolls in Kuala Lumpur Metropolitan University College to study IT, but he doesn't complete the course. Initial arrest. Richard was arrested on the 19th of December 2014, at London's Gatwick Airport, following an earlier tip-off from Task Force ARGOS, a specialised branch of Australia's Queensland Police Department, responsible for the investigation of online child abuse. Background of arrest. While investigating activities on the dark web, Task Force ARGOS was made aware of a group of paedophiles operating on a network called the Love Zone. Further investigation leads them to Shannon McCool. After obtaining a warrant, the police enters Shannon McCool's home, catching him red-handed. With Shannon's web page now under police control, it wouldn't take them long before assuming Shannon's identity, which ultimately leads to the arrests of many paedophiles, and also the arrest of Richard Huckle. Even after giving the police nothing, and due to him having no criminal record, not forgetting time needed to analyze his laptop, Richard Huckle would be released on bail and under his parents' supervision. The following day Richard was confronted by his parents, wanting an explanation for the allegations. In a drunken state, Richard finally confesses to the crimes. His parents, now disgusted by the thought, has him re-arrested, after they explain that he is no longer welcome there. This all started when Richard took a gap year in Cambodia, in 2006, where he rapes two sisters, ages 4 and 6. Richard poses as a photographer or a teacher, allowing him to gain the trust of the locals, wiggling his way into the community. By posing as a freelance photographer, Richard gains access to various schools and orphanages, staying close to the vulnerable children, taking the kids on outings, like a theme park. But at times, he'd simply show them how to take pictures, or help them with their English lessons. Ultimately, the community was grateful having an educated Westerner caring for the well-being of their children, and had no objections leaving their kids in his care. "29 victims was eventually unveiled, and over 20,000 photographic and video footage uncovered, but due to finding encrypted files that could not be accessed, and Richard refusing to give them the key, it's believed that there are many more victims. Richard was charged with the possession of indecent images of children, the rape of a child under the age of 13, for sexual assault, and for creating a paedophile manual. Sometime in January 2016, Richard pleads not guilty to the 91 charges. But then, during the preliminary trial later that year, Richard pleads guilty to 71 of the 91 charges. Extraterritorial jurisdiction. Richard was prosecuted under Section 72 of the Sexual Offences Act 2003, a rarely used section of the Act, allowing British nationals to be tried in the UK for child sex crimes committed in another country. Sentencing. On 6 June 2016. The judge explains to Richard, due to the nature of his crimes, he should expect to spend a long time behind bars. Richard's lawyer reminds the court that this is his first offense, followed with a statement from Richard, saying, "I really understand and acknowledge the true scale of damage it caused to the Malaysian community. I had hoped to escape this mundane life of solitude in the UK, yet was overwhelmed by the attention I received in Malaysia. I completely misjudged the affections I received from these children. My low self-esteem and lack of confidence with women was no excuse for me to use these children as an outlet. I am open and eager to rehabilitate from this offending behavior. I don't want to become a martyr to sex tourism in Malaysia. This was all my doing as a consequence of my immaturity and I'm truly remorseful." But the judge replies, saying that Richard was only charged with the evidence that could be obtained from his laptop, and that there are many encrypted files that could be housing more victims. 6 June 2016. Richard was sentenced to serve life behind bars, with a minimum of 25 years. But before sentencing, the judge states, "You have pleaded guilty to as many as 71 sexual offences. It is very rare indeed that a judge has to sentence sexual offending by one person on such a scale as this. In my view, you may well harbor feelings of regret, but there is no feeling of genuine remorse in this case." Death. On 13 October 2019, in a cell at Full Sutton Prison, Richard Huckle was found laying in a pool of his own blood. He was tortured to death. Paul Fitzgerald, a fellow prisoner, was charged with Richard's murder, sometime in January 2020. He was found by prison staff straddling Richard's bloody corpse.
Richard Huckle abused up to 200 children over an 8-year period in Malaysia. Huckle trained to be an English teacher and went to charities and orphanages in Kuala Lumpur to target children. In 2016, he received 22 life sentences for raping children and babies. He was found dead in his cell yesterday at Full Sutton Prison near York. It's understood he was attacked with what was described as a makeshift knife.
Events detailing Richard's final moments felt like it came straight from a horror movie. During Paul's trial, it's revealed that he gagged Richard, tying his hands and legs. Richard was raped, had a kitchen utensil shoved up his ass, and had his jaw bashed in. But one of Paul's most gruesome acts was inserting a pen, with a blade attached to the other end, into Richard's brain via his nose. This torture went on for over an hour. On 24 November 2020, Paul was sentenced to serve life behind bars, and only eligible for parole after he'd served a minimum of 34 years. And that is how Richard's story ends.